So this is something that a subscriber of mine asked me to talk about. And I got a donation on Subscribestar, so this is like a sponsored video by one of my Patreons. But the fact that YouTube CEO wants governments to pass laws to have more control over online speech. So you have YouTube CEO going around and saying that maybe governments should legislate and have clear laws what is and what isn't hate speech. Like what is and what isn't allowed to be had. And you get to see this very sensationalized. It's like YouTube is pushing for censorship. And I don't know if my opinion is going to be controversial or not, but I think people are putting the cart in front of the horse, as they say. Because if you think about it, it wasn't YouTube the first that asked for censorship. It was the governments that asked for censorship. In fact, the White House is asking for censorship. And in the case of YouTube, there was a recent scandal where the FDA actually sent a letter to YouTube asking them to censor stuff, and YouTube said no. Now, I'm not saying that YouTube is a free speech advocate. I'm not saying that I like the terms of service or I like where YouTube is at now. But what I am saying is that it's actually a good thing to make governments responsible. Because right now you have, especially in Europe and especially in Germany, you have governments that do not want to be viewed as they are the ones doing the censorship. They want to hide behind all these public platforms. And they want to say, oh, well, you know, we don't censor. It so happens that YouTube doesn't censor it. It just so happens that the press doesn't cover it. It just so happens. So people don't have any sort of recourse when that takes place. But recently in Germany, for example, they used the authorities, so the police actually took down, I believe it was like 50 Telegram accounts. And now people are outraged at what the German government is doing. And I think that's a good thing. That's a good thing. If the government wants to censor, let them do it and let them be held accountable by the people. Like, I want to know which politician is supporting censorship. I want to know which government officials are supporting censorship. Like, maybe there are nations like Germany and there are other nations like the UK where people love censorship. And, you know, like, it's the government that people have. But here in Eastern Europe, there are a lot of governments that don't censor because censorship is viewed as a horrible thing to do. It's viewed as a gross human rights violation. So any politician that would want to censor something would be incredibly punished. And I know, like, some people will say, well, yeah, but, like, politicians are just figureheads. They represent other interests. It's like, okay, they still want their job. They still want that seat. They still want to sit there and make money. They still want to gorge on the taxpayer money. So that is a thing. And they would be less likely to do it knowing that there's going to be an international outrage whenever they ask for censorship. And not only that, but if the censorship was done, at least like in China, I can't believe I'm comparing it to China, of all things. But like a lot of people who went to China, I don't know if this is true or not, but I have subscribers who lived in China. And they tell me that at least it's very explicit on what you are and aren't allowed to do. Like, it's not like here where you can have a person like Raging Golden Eagle getting censored on YouTube overnight over ambiguous stuff and he doesn't know what he did. Like, at least in China, they tell you exactly, all right, you're not allowed to do this, you're not allowed to do that. And it's very simple to understand what you can and can't say. I'm not saying that's a good system. I'm not saying that, but it's better than, like, not knowing what you are and aren't allowed to say. Now, regarding the social media platforms themselves, I don't think they like to censor. I know this sounds bizarre, but it's my opinion. Again, controversial, I know. But I think they would make more money if they didn't censor. Like, think about it. Like, Facebook or Twitter should be just like one server farm somewhere. That's it. Like, they shouldn't, like, do you know how much they pay? Like, how many moderators? Like, they have an army of moderators that are used to censor. And every time, like, something gets censored or doesn't, like, they get into a huge controversy and it's a big issue. Like, it's a political mess. I mean, look at YouTube. You know, they got into, like, what? Like, 4 apocalypses over censorship and shit. I think, like, they wouldn't want to deal with this stuff. Like, maybe, you know, like, censoring things based on politics gives you power. And maybe they would want to censor, like, politicians so that other politicians go to them. It's like, hey, help me win this campaign. And in exchange, I'll do stuff for it. Like, maybe they would want that type of censorship. But I guarantee to you, when it comes to other bullshit, like lewdness, gambling, guns, like that, that's not something that they necessarily want to censor. Like, they lose money whenever they censor a channel. I can't believe I'm defending YouTube here, huh? I'm shilling for YouTube. Susan, did you pay me? Susan! No, I'm not paid by Susan. It's legitimately what I think. Especially since like YouTube, out of all the other platforms, is the most free speech one. Like compare YouTube to Twitter, okay? Like on Twitter, if you don't believe trans women are women, you're banned. I don't care what your opinion is, you're banned. Like you can have a conversation with a taxi driver about the pandemic, you're banned from Twitter. Like recently, they just deleted Democrats L's Twitter account, and all they did was like they would quote Democrats. And they got banned for medical misinformation, which means that some Democrats must have been pushing for medical misinformation, right? That's Twitter. Facebook, they ban you if you associate with some people. They have this thing called hate agents. And if you are like associated, like for example, if you're promoting Alex Jones videos, you get banned. You get zooked on Facebook if you do that, right? Like compare with those platforms, YouTube is good. It's still horrible. Like I'm telling you, my only anxiety in life comes from YouTube because I don't know what the TOS is. They can come for you at any moment. They tinker with their search algorithm. They have like unreasonable demands on what is and what isn't allowed, like cursing, for example. Like South Park is okay, but if I have a potty mouth, I get demonetized. Like a lot of shit that I don't agree with. But what I'm saying is that I would very much prefer if the governments were very clear on what they want to censor. And if anything, but with this said, I would also want platforms like YouTube to be like, okay, if it's legal, we're not censoring. Like if it's legal, we're not touching it. That would be great, wouldn't it? And then I would be fine. Yeah, sure. Allow the governments, especially in the US. Like, let's see you do it. Let's see the American government legislate hate speech online. That would be interesting. Can you do it? Probably not. Oh, the Constitution is far right. I know. But it would be interesting. Like I would encourage YouTube to be like this. Yes, if it's legal, leave it up. If it's illegal, take it down. 100%. I agree. I don't think they would like that very much, but it would be interesting. But then you have other governments like Canada, right? Like where it's like, oh, you're supporting the trucker protest. Oh, take it down. Horrible, shameful display. So it really depends. I don't know. But like this is a little bit overhyped because I do believe that if I was in charge of YouTube and you have like different world governments asking for different levels of censorship and stuff like that, yeah, it would be annoying. It would be very difficult to run a business like that. So you reach the end of your patience and you're like, okay, tell us what exactly you want and then we'll talk. But the governments don't want to do that, right? They want to launder the censorship through YouTube. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you in the comment section, and don't forget to give a thumbs up. I should be asking that more often, but I don't want to stress you guys with like every video. It's like, hey, don't forget to give a thumbs up. Don't forget to give a thumbs up. But apparently I should. Like other YouTubers told me I should, so I'm doing it. All right. Don't give a thumbs up. Don't give a thumbs. Let's try reverse psychology. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.